What's up? Today I've got some broken hide and seek spots to show you. These spots were found by me as well as the awesome people in my Discord server. One quick thing I want to mention before we start is that each spot will have a rating on my new morality meter. The purpose of this is just to show how much a spot bends the rules, since some people play more strictly than others. With that out of the way, enjoy the video. Our first spot, which is in Cascade Kingdom, is sorta inside the waterfall. By jumping down from above, you can grab this tiny ledge which just barely is far enough to the left so that the water doesn't push you down. The waterfall covers you really well here, making you undetectable from almost all angles. As far as escaping goes, it isn't great, but you do have a couple of options if you can react before the seekers get too close. This is probably the route I'd take, since from here you have multiple sub-areas you can go to as well as multiple branching paths. Going toward the wire could also work if you play your cards right. Our second spot in Cascade Kingdom is near the top of the kingdom at the Madame Brute Arena. All throughout the game, especially in specific kingdoms like Cascade and Moon, there are tiny slivers of collision that you can stand on. Most of them aren't very good for hiding since they're out in the open, but this one happens to be in a very convenient spot. Since gamers don't look up, the only way it'd be spotted is if someone decided to jump down from the top to the chain chomp sub area or something, but that's not very likely. Speaking of which, you could very easily escape down to the chain chomp sub area, or you could backflip and get back up onto the arena where you have tons of different ways that you can go. We've got another spot that uses a collision sliver, and this one is even smaller than the last one. This time it's in the Dino sub area, so you aren't as exposed as you would be in the overworld. Now there are downsides to hiding in a sub area, but I think this is the better of the two spots. Like I said, the jump to land on this is extremely precise and took me way more tries than I'm willing to admit. Escaping from the spot shouldn't be too bad, since you can jump down to the bottom section and run around the sub area, or you can jump back up and leave the sub area before they block the door. This is our first objectively immoral spot of the video, and it won't be the last. For this spot, you're going to want to make your way down to the hole below the inverted pyramid. The thing that makes this spot immoral is that it abuses collisionless stairs and requires you to hide inside of them. Literally all you have to do is crouch walk into these stairs and boom, you aren't getting found. Just make sure that you have at least one hand sticking out so that it isn't totally unfair for the seekers. Just so you know, it works for both sides, and you can easily escape through the pipe at the entrance, or if you feel like running through the underground temple, that works too. This is where things go from "that was pretty cool" to "this should not even be possible." Shout out to Hugs for finding this, because I never would have known that you can literally ledge grab on nothing. Lining this up isn't easy, but you do have slight room for error. The spot really isn't that crazy, it's just the fact that it's possible. Unfortunately, you can't escape from this since the railing blocks you out from getting back up, and the platform to the left is way too far. The right? Well, yeah, don't even try the right. I'm just gonna cut to the chase. This is an absolute god spot, but it requires you to use the infinite height glitch with glide on. The way you do this glitch is by running off of this really steep slope and then gliding right before you land. To be clear, you can't jump off of the slope and glide, you have to walk off and glide. The timing for this is really tight, but once you get it, all you have to do is keep flying and shake your controller until you have the amount of height that you want. For this spot, we need to get a lot of extra height because there's a giant invisible wall blocking the tower that we're trying to get into. Once you think you're high enough, change directions to face the tower and glide until you're directly above it. Once you're above it, you can drop down to land onto this platform that you're never supposed to be able to access in the regular game. Something important to note is that this platform is the only part of the tower that you can stand on, so I'd watch your step. If you really want to, you can keep glide on to easily fly away and escape. However, with these types of spots, it's usually more respectable to stand your ground, and whenever you get caught, you get caught. Something funny that you can do while you're up here is go inside of this cage. Here, everyone can easily see you, but they'll have no idea how to get inside. This next spot uses an exploit involving the Tropical Wiggler. The reason I call this an exploit is because it really isn't a glitch. Everything is working as intended, other than the fact that you aren't really supposed to be able to walk around on poison. The way you perform this glitch is by walking off of a platform just above the poison and then extending right before you hit the poison. This allows you to latch onto the poison where you can immediately extend again and repeat continuously. Unfortunately, this isn't as broken as it seems because every time you re-extend you get lower, meaning that you can't get very far without dying. Since you get lower every time you re-extend, there's not really any way to escape. Nevertheless, I think this is an incredible spot, especially considering that it's in the Lost Kingdom. We've seen a couple of really crazy spots in the Narrow Valley sub-area, and well, here we are again. The previous spots from this sub-area were mainly possible due to the Gushen's broken hitbox and the ability to gain height, but this one actually has nothing to do with the Gushen. Okay, I guess technically it does because we still need the Gushen to get through the sub-area, but that's irrelevant. Now, once you're at the poison section, go past the first pillar, and then right before the second, fly up to where you'll find that the second pillar is placed conveniently close to a wall that I honestly didn't know existed until just recently. If you haven't figured it out already, this is an infinite wall jump spot. Unfortunately, this spot does have a downside. This pillar is a cylinder, and Mario does not like to wall jump on cylinders. Whenever you try to wall jump here, it either will push you a little bit to the right or a little to the left. Thankfully, this wall is so big that you can easily make adjustments without falling, meaning that the pillar is no more than an annoyance. Also, I don't think I really need to say this, but there's no escaping from here. This next spot is a bit complicated since it requires the frog, which you can only capture by going to the very back of the kingdom. After you capture the frog, you then have to bring it all the way back to the moon cave entrance, which is problematic because the seekers will already be seeking long before you get there. If the seekers go into sub areas or you manage to avoid them and make it all the way to the moon cave entrance, then you've got a pretty solid spot. With the frog, you can actually go inside of this entrance whenever usually as Mario you would just slide down into the loading zone. The only way you're getting found here is if someone tags you on accident by trying to enter moon cave normally, but I think you should be fine if you hug the wall. Escaping from this spot is really easy since you're right next to the moon cave loading zone if you want to go there, or you can just escape back out of the cave entrance into the overworld. Our final spot of the video is in Mushroom Kingdom. This is definitely the peak of immorality for the video because it's out of bounds. The reason I'm including this is because all you have to do to get out of bounds is jump onto this specific tree in the right spot and it lets you slide inside of this hill. If you do this correctly, you can make it so Mario's fingers just stick out, which could be extremely obvious, but I feel like this is a pretty good spot for Mushroom. If you need to escape, all you have to do is jump back in bounds, where I think a really good spot to go would be the 8-bit sub area since they can't catch you while you're inside of the moving screen. There are tons of other spots that you can go to, like the Rocket Flowers or the castle, but I feel like this is the best option. That was 10 broken hiding spots for Super Mario Odyssey Hide and Seek. Thanks to everyone who sent spots in, and thanks to you for watching to the end of the video. If you have any broken spots of your own that you'd like to share, my Discord will be in the description. I do want to say thanks to you guys for 1k subs. We're now one step closer to my goal of 100k. Anyways, that's all I've got for now. See you in the next one.